Hey, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another YouTube video. And today we're talking about the Grandmaster Nightfall. This week is the first week the Grandmasters are available, but it's also double rep, double loot, and it's the new Nightfall weapon this week, the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher is amazing, so I figured that I would do this guide for some of you guys that are just getting into the GMs as an easy way to get through this GM, get lots of loot, even if you've never done a GM in your life. I'm going to try to make this guide as easy as possible so everyone can actually complete the GM and actually get some of that loot. So, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with the exotic weapons and the subclass lighting that should be running. There's going to be 2 exotic weapons for each slot that I'm going to recommend, 2 kinetics, 2 energy weapons. For the kinetic slot, the Malfeasance or the Wish in there are going to be some fantastic choices. They both come with anti-champion perks. The Wish Ender has built-in barrier. It's also a bow that does tons of damage, so you can play very safe with it. And that's how mostly we're going to be playing the strike. We're going to be playing far back, just kind of picking up the enemies. So the Wish Ender is going to be great for that. Well, the Malfeasance has built-in Unstoppable. It does extra damage against Taken. The Malfeasance perk does some pretty great burst damage. And it even has Vorpal thanks to its catalyst. So the Malfeasance all around is just a fantastic weapon, but especially on this strike, it can really shine against some of the big enemies. You can just stand back, fire the weapon at a big enemy, and just watch them take a lot of damage from the Malfeasance perk, while you're staying fairly safe, pretty far away. If you want to run your exotic in the energy slot, then we have something like Tikus or the Polaris Lance. They're both solar weapons, and that's for a good reason. There's so many solar mods this season. It makes the solar weapons super strong, but especially these 2 for this strike. I chose both of these weapons because you can stay fairly safe with these weapons by staying back away from the enemy while still doing lots of damage, whether it's with the perfect fit shot or with the explosions from the Tikus. You're also going to have pretty much constant rating up. So even while Polaris doesn't really have a champion mod for scout rifles this season, you'll still have anti-barrier thanks to that Radiant. And Tikus, you can go with Unstoppable, or you can rely on Radiant for breaking shields. You can go either, but I think I would recommend more towards going Unstoppable with Tikus. You could go with any of these 4 weapons. I think they all will do fantastic in this GM. So whichever you like the most, or whichever you got, if you're new to the game, definitely choose that one. Besides the exotic weapon, the only other weapon recommendation I'm going to give you is that somebody in your fire team, it doesn't really have to be everyone, it can just be one person, has a blinding grenade launcher. It doesn't matter if it's in the kinetic slot, on the energy slot, as long as one person has disorienting grenades on your special grenade launcher, you're going to make this a lot easier once you get to the Tormentor room. The Tormentor room is where I've seen some people fail their GMs, because the small room with the Tormentor, they kind of just get overwhelmed. Maybe they die to the ice, the Tormentor catches them off guard, and then they have to go back to orbit. So we don't want that, and an easy way to avoid that is by having a blinding grenade launcher. It's not only going to be for the Tormentor room, it can also be very useful for the rest of the strike, but I just think it's like the easiest way to deal with Tormentor and just make sure you get to that room. So you definitely want to have at least one person with a disorienting grenade launcher, whether it's you or one of your teammates. You stock it out, but one person should have that. You want to have an easy time getting to the strike. Besides that, as long as you have some weapons that will help you stun the champions, there's very Unstoppable in here. You should be good to go. When picking some of your other weapons, remember that solar and strand weapons will do more damage, and machine guns as well will do more damage in the strike. Now let's get into the subclasses that you want to be running, and you can never go wrong with some solar subclasses. Once again, it's the season of the solar, so solar hunters, solar warlocks, solar titans, all will do very well in this strike. You have the well for the warlocks, you have the big hammer for the titans, and then you have either the golden gun with celestial, or the blade barrage with some shards of Galanor for the hunters. All of those will do fantastic in the strike, so I would highly recommend solar so you can take advantage of all the solar mods and especially if you have some solo weapons on, you know, the synergy there is just going to be amazing. But if you have a build, maybe with like a Stasis Warlock, or maybe you want to run some Banner of War Titan, then those are some solid options as well. I'm actually going to leave a link in the comments, 3 links actually. One for a Hunter build, a Titan build, and a Warlock build, all solar, that you guys can quickly use copy with them and use equipped onto your character if that's what you want to do. So those will be in the description, so check those out if you want like a quick build to go into the Nightfall with. The weapons may not update because you know you may not have the weapons that I have on, but everything else should update and put on the mods for you. Now that we have our subclass and the weapons that we're running, just make sure that you have some arc resist on your chest piece because it is arc threat, and that you have maybe some concussive dampener because there's going to be a lot of AoE attacks in this Grandmaster, so those two should keep you alive for a little longer or make you survive some things that maybe before you weren't going to survive. I say this because some people that I was playing with did forget them, and we found that out halfway through. that they didn't actually have those mods on the chest piece. So just make sure you keep them on. You know, taking less damage is always good, and these mods are just going to help you keep you alive. But anyways, I think now we're ready, and let's just do a quick walkthrough to the strike. Okay, so you spawned in, and there's going to be immediately some ads in front of you. You just try to kill them from around where you spawn. That's a very safe area to shoot them from. Don't go to the left because you're going to attract the attention of the ads close to the church, and you definitely don't want to do that. There's like a champion over there. After you finish killing all these guys over here, you could look to the left and start dealing with some of the ads near the church. I would recommend that you take out the champion first. You're going to be able to see him fairly well. He might be hiding behind the bushes though, so you might be able to see his health bar. But you should be able to get him from back here pretty safely. After that, we just kill the ads, and then we can start pushing the cart. When pushing the cart, remember that once it reaches a certain distance traveled, it will spawn more ads. Once it does that, you can use back off the cart, fall back, kill the ads from like a good distance away. Once you clear enough ads, there won't be any more ads. You can get back in the cart and move forward. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing with the cart at all times. We get on the cart, we move it just enough to spawn ads, we get off of it, put some distance between us and the ads, kill them, go back to the cart, and move it some more. There's one barrier and like 2 unstoppables here, so be careful with these. This next area is going to be pretty easy. You just gotta chill in this room and shoot out and take out the ads. Then a champion will spawn. It's going to be an unstoppable, so be ready for him. But as long as you're up there, this should be a pretty easy area. The unstoppable probably won't get close where he is any danger. So just stay up there, shoot the unstoppable, kill him, and then we're going to get back to the cart. Okay, so now we're back in the cart, and we just kind of ride the car for a little bit until we get some ads to spawn right in front of us. You can shoot the blinding grenade launcher right at them and then just make them easy pickings since they spawn in a pretty close group. So whoever has the grenade launcher could just shoot one shot there and they'll be easy to pick off. After that, we're looking down the street. That's where the most danger is going to be. There's going to be turrets. There's going to be some champions coming down the street. So you can stay just around the corner where you can shoot the enemies but not be too out in the open for too long. And if the champion starts rushing you, you could also fall back to where you just came from. You could go back really far back, so don't be afraid of putting some distance between you and the unstoppable champion. There should only be one, so it shouldn't be too hard to deal with him. After you deal with the unstoppable champion, just kind of push forward up the street. Once you run out of ads, push the car forward. Once it reaches to a certain area, it will spawn more ads. Fall back, kill the ads, push the car forward again. And that's pretty much just the process we're going to be following. Again, just like in the other area, but now in this area. Now, as the car reaches the end, there's going to be one more group of ads spawning. But there's also going to be an an anti-barrier champion spawning to the right. So just make sure that you keep in mind that the anti-barrier champion is going to be on the right, so you're not surprised by him. Once you deliver the card, now we're going to be starting off the Meatball fight. Now for the Meatball fight, you want to use fallback as far away as you can from the Meatball. The Meatball is very dangerous, so you don't want to get too close to it. You can fall back all the way to the street where you just came from. There will be some goo on the ground, so just make sure to jump over it. But once you get to this area is fairly safe. The Meatball will shoot you every once in a while, so make sure that you don't group up together in case somebody dies. So you still have to be careful, you can't just be standing still. But it should be just a lot safer shooting Meatball from here than just being up there next to it. This is where the Polaris lands and the Malfeasance really shine. Since they're primary weapons, they can shoot a lot and do a lot of damage to the Meatball. You're able to do really good from here with the Polaris or the Malfeasance. Just keep shooting it and it will eventually go down. Slowly, yes, but it will go down without having to use too much of your heavy. But you could use some heavy if you want. You want to get it down faster, you know, shoot a couple rockets at it. Halfway through, they would spawn some ads. So you kind of have to be careful because there's going to be some taken wizards that kind of get a little closer and try to get you. So make sure that when the ads spawn, you take care of the ads first before continuing to fight the Meatball. The Meatball also does have an immunity phase halfway through when it gets like around half health. It will have some eyes that are like tied to it that if you don't destroy them, you can't damage it anymore. And when that comes up, you can go a little to the left of where you're standing to go and shoot the eyes. You will be in the taking goo, so maybe you could throw a grenade at your feet, a healing grenade or something, to stand there and shoot the eyes. They don't take too many shots, especially if you have the Polaris. If you have the Malfeasance, they'll definitely take a lot more. But just go there, shoot a couple. When you get around half health, jump out of there, go back to safety, wait for your health to regen. Once you're fully regen, you could go back out there, shoot the other eye, and just repeat that process till you kill all the eyes. I think that's just going to be the safest way to get rid of the eyes without having somebody get too close to the Meatball. Once you beat those eyes, you're able to go back to damage the Meatball, and you basically just go back to the same spot, shoot the Meatball a bunch more. Ads will spawn one more time, you get 2 rounds of ads. Once they do, you can take care of the ads, and after that, you can continue to kill the Meatball until it dies. It should take you a couple of minutes just from like standing back here and shooting it with whatever you have. Like I said, all the weapons are going to be pretty good for it, whether it's the Tikus, the Malfeasance, the Wishender, the Polaris. All of them can do some pretty good damage from here. If you have the Malfeasance, you don't really have to hit the crit. It's better to hit the crit, but if you can't really hit the crit, you could just shoot the Meatball anywhere. And as long as you hit it with 5 shots, the Malfeasance perk will go off. You know, just keep that in mind. And with the Meatball down, that is the most annoying part of the strike down. Now it should be pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Once we get to the next room, we can just kill all these ads right here at the beginning. And there will be an unstoppable that will come up the stairs, either on the right or the left. There's not one specific spot where he comes from. Sometimes he comes from the left, sometimes he comes from the right. So you just kind of be ready to stun the unstoppable. I don't know what causes him to go left or right. He just kind of seems to like pick whichever side, you know, he's feeling that run, really. Inside this area, the blinding grenade launcher is going to be amazing. It can blind pretty much any enemy that's not a champion. So you should definitely use it here. Blinding the enemies just makes it so much easier to get through this room. So make sure you blind those groups of enemies, and you should be able to get through this room fairly easily. Okay, so now for this part coming out the building, be careful coming out here because there will be 2 guys with shields immediately to the left. You can hit them with a blinding grenade launcher and make them easier to kill. You could also suspend them if you happen to be on strand. So that's a good way to deal with them. You definitely want to deal with them right away because they just won't let you do anything else. They're basically blocking the path right away. Just take them out with something as quickly as possible. And after that, we are really gonna meet the villain of this bridge, which are the treasures. The treasures, you wouldn't think they would be that big of a problem, but they are. As soon as the treasure spawns, make sure that you get back in the tunnel, because the treasure is gonna kill you if you don't. You could also go to the left side of the bridge where it's not in the open, where it's like kind of like the inside area. That's also a good place to hide from the treasure. But if you are out there, the other ads can also shoot you. So that's why I say to go back to the tunnel and shoot the treasure from there instead. From all the runs that I've done, that seemed to be like the easiest and safest place to kill the treasure from. You can shoot it with primary weapons, you can shoot it with heavy. Malfeasance actually does surprisingly really well against it with the Whirlpool weapon and with the Malfeasance perk. So this is another place where Malfeasance comes in handy, and it's pretty good. Once we push up a little more on the bridge, another treasure is gonna spawn. But this one is a little easier to take out. As long as you're like on the left side of the bridge, on the inside area, you should be able to see a piece of the treasure. So as long as you can stand here and you shoot the treasure over and over again, eventually it will die and we're able to move on and deal with some of the champions, some of the big yellow bar enemies here. You want to stay in the same area, just be careful with like enemies that throw grenades or who like shoot at you. If you have Polaris, you can actually just stand on the main bridge area far away because you have like tons of range. But if you have something that's closer range like Malfeasance, this area right here will be a good place to shoot the enemies. Like, the more you kill enemies in this area, the more you'll be able to move around to like the main part of the bridge, the side, and just kind of like find areas where you can actually see the enemies clearly and kill them. For this next room, you just kind of have to be careful with the Unstoppable. As soon as you go into the room, he's going to be over to the left. So you could bait him into the room that you just came from. Or, you know, if you have Strand, or you just want to immediately stun him, you can use Melt them there with some heavy. You can use your supers too. You know, make sure that you're using supers through all this. I know this is the first time I mentioned like using the super, but hopefully throughout this you've been using your super as much as you can. There's not really any areas where supers are specifically needed, but if you have something like Celestial Nighthawk, Shards of Galanor, you definitely want to be using those supers whenever you can. There will be another barrier champion here. Just take him out and then just continue up the stairs, and it's normal. Be careful in the stairs because they do like to throw grenades, don't like bunch up. Just keep a bit of distance from each other and you should be fine in this room. As we're coming into this next room after killing the Ats, you can either go on the right or the left. Both of the sides are pretty good for killing the champion and the big yellow bar guy. I went to the left, but like I said, both of the sides are going to be pretty good. And now, after this, we're gonna go into the Tormentor room. I've seen people fail here, but you should be fine since you have the grenade launcher. At least if you have some ammo. So I hope you save a little bit of ammo with the grenade launcher up to this point. As long as you have like maybe 10 shots, you should be pretty fine to go through this whole thing without even having to like really fight the Tormentor. When coming into this room, the Tormentor room, make sure that everyone is by the door, because if you don't, the door is going to close behind you as soon as you walk through, and your teammates are going to have to get teleported into the room. If it does happen, it's not that big of a deal, but it's just something to keep in mind. After you do a bit of damage, some eyes will spawn above you. Make sure you take those out because those actually can do a lot of damage if you just leave them up there. So you want to take them out as quickly as possible. The Malfeasance one-shots them, so that's pretty good. But any other weapon should also like take 1 or 2 shots to kill him. You definitely just want to hit the Tormentor with the grenade launcher over and over again so you can't really do much. If you have Strand, you can also strand him up. But it should be fairly easy to get this guy while he's blinded. Just make sure that he's blinded for most of the time. And this room should be a breeze instead of the terrifying experience that Bungie was probably going for. But once we deal with the Tormentor, then we are pretty much almost done with the strike. In the next room, you just kind of have to take the ads normally. There's nothing really special here. Just kill the ads, work your way up the hallways. Now that we got to the boss room, You want to blind the ats if you still have some grenade launcher ammo, kill the smaller ats, and then deal with the champion. Now that everything is cleared up, do not shoot the thing in the middle. That will start the boss fight, and that's not what we want to do right now. We could fight the boss down here, but we're trying to get some guaranteed loot, and being down here is very dangerous, so we're gonna go up to the cheese spot. If you guys don't know how to get up there, those require some jumping, and this is how you get there. The main tricky jump is gonna be the one from this ledge to the piece of metal. So it might take you a few tries, but just keep trying and I'm sure you'll get here. But once you get on this spot, you pretty much are almost there. You jump one more time to the beam above you, then jump over the roof, and then this is the spot where we're gonna be hanging out. You can still be damaged up here, especially the knights like throw fire up here, which can damage you and will get you down very quickly. But as long as you're spread around, then that fire maybe kills one person, but it won't kill the whole group, and it won't cause a wipe. From here, you can shoot the thing in the middle, destroy it, start the boss fight, and up here, you could just shoot it with your primary weapons, your heavy, just let the guy have it. But that's pretty much it. Up here, you're just going to be able to kill the guy, as long as you avoid the fire, and this should be an easy completion of the Grandmaster this week. Hopefully you get some good loot, hopefully you get some good rolls in your grenade launcher, and most important of all, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, dislike if you didn't, subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already. I'm planning on doing one of these for pretty much every Nightfall this season. Some Nightfalls might take longer than others to make, but you know, that's what I'm thinking of making. Depending how you guys respond to this video. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Take care everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.